Hey, thanks for tuning in to Nuts and Bolts with Tone. Today we're going to talk about the 6.6 Duramax. This is a 06 6.6 Duramax, and it's my first water pump I've ever done on one of these. So I'm going to tell you about what I've learned and what will save you a lot of money. Let's just start by saying one of the procedures is to remove the balancer. And this is GM's procedure: remove the right wheel well, remove the starter, and install special tool. So without the special tool, I tried to take it off. I tried everything to hold that balancer. I couldn't do it. I spent about an hour and a half trying everything, and nothing would break that balancer bolt loose. It's 260 foot-pounds. So I took the wheel well out, took the starter out while I was waiting for the tool, and then the tool came. Here's the tool. Lisle 22100 flywheel locking tool. So I get the tool and I'm trying to figure out how it goes into the starter hole, and here is the kit. So it comes with this guy right here, which is for 4500s and 5500s. That tool right there is for up to the 1 tons, and then it comes with the socket. Now the socket is a 3/4 drive. So if you get this kit, you're going to need to get one of these. Unless you have a 3/4 inch breaker bar, you're going to need a 1/2 inch to 3/4 adapter. You can get one at Harbor Freight, a lot cheaper than I got. So before I show you where the tool goes, oh, and that tool right there is $32.85 on Amazon. If you have a Duramax, you're going to need that tool because you're going to do a couple of these at least. So here's what the GM water pump looks like. It comes fully assembled. Water pump to the housing. Got a gasket that goes here, an O-ring that goes here. Now let me tell you how to do this job. Some of the things that I found. So there's the balancer. So the procedure is going to want you to take this housing off, which is the lower thermostat housing. And it crosses over under all the accessories on both sides. You don't need to take that off. It's a little tricky. You got one water line that goes here. So here's the pipe, and it goes like this. There's where the hose goes. There's the O-ring where it goes up into the thermostat housing. And there's the bottom that bolts to the water pump. So unbolt the water pump, undo the hose clamp, stick a pick in there, spray some WD-40 so it gets nice and loose. And you have to work this thing back and forth, up and down, and then you can pop this O-ring out. Just make sure you get a new O-ring when you put it back together. Couple little tricks is this goes to a pipe, and these nuts are on the back side. I believe these are 13 millimeter, and they're a little tricky because of the angle. Then there's only 3 bolts, 2 bolts, and a nut that hold this in place. So pretty simple. O-ring here seals it from the engine, from engine oil. Then you got the coolant over here. There's the weep hole. You see coolant there, that means your water pump is leaking internally. You need to replace it. You got to pull the whole water pump housing off to replace it. Now I have a lot more room in here because I'm replacing the radiator, but here's what it looks like. There's the whole timing gear inside where the water pump drives. There's the crankshaft coming over here. So pretty much from start to finish, you're going to take the TCM off, disconnect it. You're going to take the upper fan shroud out, take the fan clutch and the outside fan bracket off, leave the belt on while you break the fan clutch loose. It holds the pulley a lot easier. Now if you have an air hammer, you can get you a set like this. Here's the size. Looks like 1 7/8. Same for a 6-liter and a 6.4 power stroke. You're gonna take all that off. Once you get the belt off, you get the balancer off, then it's gonna come out. Now, here's what's gonna save you some time and some money, so you don't waste your time. I'm replacing the radiator as I was disconnecting the upper hose. The upper hose connection started to break away. You got this little metal piece right here. And it goes right there. Then you got this tool here, and this tool, this is the piece, it just slides in that way, locks in the flywheel, it bottoms out on this hole right here and holds it. You can break it loose. You're either going to need a long ratchet and a long pipe, or a really long breaker bar. This is what I used, but it was not easy to break loose. So that's what you're going to need to do this water pump. It's not a bad water pump. I just don't work on Duramaxes very often. Work on a lot of Power Strokes and work on a lot of Cummins. Before you take your fan bracket off, make sure you disconnect your sensor here so you don't pull the wires out. So again, this is the part that slides into the hole to lock the flywheel in place. Then you got that 12.36 millimeter socket. Just don't forget that you need a 1/2 to 3/4 adapter, or you're going to end up back at the store. So again, this is how you do a 6.6 water pump. This is an 06. Thanks for tuning in to Nuts and Bolts with Tone. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and check out my Instagram with Nuts and Bolts at Tone. Nuts and Bolts with Tone. See you next time.